Welcome, friends and foes alike. Please join James, Chris, and Wes on our journey through a realm forged in the fires of creation. I am Josh, your host and dungeon master, and this is Hooked on Draconics. Hello, and thank you for listening to episode 1 of the Hooked on Draconics podcast. If you're listening to this, we greatly appreciate you that you're giving us the time of day to listen to a couple of losers sitting around the table talking about D&D and dragons and stuff.
Thank you.
I've had the players prepare an opening scene that I would like for them to read to you.
Alright. I'm Chris, and I'll start off. I'm playing Thormund, a wood elf barbarian who's 5'9", has shoulder-length wild brown hair, and bright green eyes. And I also have a tattoo of a dark green hydra on my back, with its many necks twisting around my arms and the heads facing towards my hands. I open my eyes and sit up from my nightly reverie. I look out the window and see that it is almost dawn. The sun is rising lower in the sky every day, which means we are nearing the time of the Harvest Festival. I walk outside my small one-room cabin to stretch my muscles and breathe the morning air. Once outside, I get a small fire going to fix my morning meal. Once I have eaten, I gather my wooden carvings that I've been making to sell at the Windstone Harvest Festival and place them in a small wooden chest. The carvings consist mostly of wildlife that is not native to this part of the world, such as sylvan hydras, owlbears, dragon turtles, thunderbirds, direwolves, mastodons, and a couple of manticores, among a handful of others. Once I have my goods ready for travel, I grab the rest of my traveling gear and weapons, and I start walking towards town. It's a short 30-minute walk south to the village. It is early, so I get to the village square before many of the other merchants. I set up my wares at the market stall I'd reserved for the festival, and I make idle chit-chat with the other merchants as they start to trickle in and get their wares ready for the festival.
All right, James?
I'll just go ahead and read my little introduction. This is for Talon. A crimson-skinned and somewhat gaunt-looking youthful tiefling is sitting on a stack of crates, slightly obscured by his dark green and black cloak, but mostly hidden by shadows, in an alleyway, watching the new festival crowd like a hawk. He begins rubbing and feeling his horns jutting up and back around his head. They are akin to that of a proud ram, if the ram had the curse of devil blood, that is. He never quite liked them, but accepting that they were staying there for good, he mutters to himself, like he always said, Talon, it's better to have your demons on the outside than the in. He's been watching this new flood of people for a while now, training his piercing blue eyes for what he expected to happen on days like today. It always happened, without fail. That much he knew, for he used to be the reason it did. He knew what to look for, the lackadaisical attitude, the nonchalance of wistfully enjoying the day, the wonder of traveling to a new place and becoming a temporary guest, a tourist of the sights. And that's when he saw what he desired. A small pouch of particularly heavy coins. Gold. Nothing weighted down a purse quite like gold does. It's dense, it's always beautiful, even when it's concealed behind velvet and burlap. The intoxicating nature of holding it and knowing it will get you through whatever troubles in life you come across. And it was on the belt string of a young woman, accompanied by a wonder-eyed daughter, looking at the stalls and stands as the criers hawk their wares and shout to the passerbys. The wonderful qualities of their goods and services, he's sure. It hung such a perfectly sculpted bag of coins. Impeccable, he whispered to himself, knowing all too well that he was experienced enough to follow his target through the crowd without drawing too much attention. Graceful, with a sly grin, he flowed as the wind through the throngs of townsfolk getting on with their business, Never approaching his target too close, never letting him get too far away. He had done this so many times now that the road action of it all almost bored him. But the thrill of seeing the look on her face would make it all worth it in the end. Angling himself just so, watching for the moment, waiting for the coin purse will inevitably leave her side, he positioned thoughtfully and quietly. That's when his actual target struck. A kid no older than 15, probably. Just a few years younger than him. He cut the purse from its strings, the owner of it, none the wiser. He's not bad. He's not good. But he's definitely not bad. But he's certainly not as good as the devil of the Bastard Woods. Just loud enough for his target to hear as he passed right by him, slipping the pouch itself into his own hands. The words a distraction enough to the boy who thought he did the nefarious deed unnoticed. Distractions. That's what always lets you get away with things. Always have them looking at you. Sorry. Always have them looking at what you want them to, paying attention to what you direct, so you can slip into or out of any situation. It works for everything in life, pickpocketing or otherwise. Ma'am. Oh, I think you may have dropped this. Talon shouts from a few feet away, holding the heavy purse in his hand. Albeit a few coins lighter, so she could see his offering to her. Oh my, thank you so much. I could have sworn I tied that tightly this morning, she proclaims. I don't know what I was thinking. Oh, think nothing of it then. I'm just doing my good deed for the day. Hope you enjoy the festival. With that, he knew she wouldn't even question the difference in the pouch's weight. Most people wouldn't, at least. To her, it's probably insignificant. But to the village orphans, on the other hand, Talon knew that what he lifted would probably feed them for at least a week. So, now he goes to the Windstone town square, content that he found a good use for his skills. Practice makes perfect, after all.
All right. Wes?
Hey, yeah, I'm Wesley, and I will be playing as Cassius. A candle's light flickers through the window of a fishing shack, before being snuffed out suddenly by a hand. Bugs scurry away from the doorway of a small, weathered fishing shack covered in cobwebs as it opens. A man of average frame exits the shack. He has a fair complexion with bluish tint, and short black hair that is peppered with silver strands. He's wearing a white, long-sleeve shirt and gray overalls. His clothes are clean, but tattered and with many patches throughout. He walks to the side and picks up a bucket of dead fish. Their eyes all seemingly follow his movements. He moves around and blows out candles spread throughout the camp. We're going into town. I want to see people and the festival I keep hearing about. Please don't be too weird, he whispers to himself, nestling a leather-bound book into a satchel on his hip. He dons a large straw hat to overcast luminous, honeyed eyes. He sets off from his encampment. The dead fish slosh in their bucket. A wooden "Do Not Disturb" sign disappears in the distance. Passing the farmlands, the forest, he enters the village and shies through the back alleys, and comes upon a litter of kittens. Here you are, hungry ones, and tosses them a couple of fish before hurrying along. He pretends to not notice the dead fish's eyes still staring at him as the litter of cats claim their breakfast. Another alleyway, tossing some fish to some rats, then again to a swarm of beetles. Soon enough, he's back on the main street, heading into the city square, straight for the line of a popular food stand. So, this is the famous butter-candied apple I've heard about, he whispers to himself before taking a bite. Delicious, but something is wrong? He spits and notices a half-bitten worm wriggling out of the apple. I'm really sorry, I didn't see you there. He tosses the apple into a bush and sighs, turning his attention back to the bustle of the square perhaps looking for a friendly face.
All right. The sun has risen over the idyllic valley of Windstone, a small farming community nestled in the Godian River Valley. We see the community is already abuzz with more activity than usual because today is the first day of the Windstone Harvest Festival. We see people moving all about the main street, setting up stalls, hanging up decorations, preparing event venues. In these stalls, we see a wide array of wares, such as vegetables, fish, trinkets, potions, and other such sundries. We see a group of carpenters loudly erecting a stage near the center of town. One of the carpenters wipes the sweat from their brow as they explain to the event organizer that they can't change the dimensions of the stage this late into the construction. A polite argument breaks out between them. A duo of robed priests walk through the street, attempting to sell dirty bottles of a dark red wine. They approach a stand with a variety of strange smells and odors. A crazed gnome ambushes him with a spritz from a perfume bottle. An outdoor forge glows hot as a dwarven woman with a close-cropped haircut works a bit of hot iron. A young lad, on the cusp of manhood, assists her with the smithing. He looks distractedly off into the distance, as the dwarvish woman reprimands him for not paying close enough attention. A cart rolls down the street, with several clinking bottles in the back. Sitting in the driver's seat are two men. One is a dark-skinned, middle-aged human man with a clean-shaven head. He wears a simple gray worker's tunic, and he has the presence that suggests, at one point in his life, he fought for a living. But he has since allowed himself to soften. The other is a halfling with curly gray hair and sideburns. He is wearing a white long-sleeve shirt with red vest. He looks nervously to his husband as their cart comes to a stop at the stall that they have reserved. The dark-skinned man tenderly helps the halfling out of the cart. Together they begin unloading the cart and setting up the stall, putting up a sign that says, Whispering Cider. The crowd begins to grow as the day continues. People gather in front of the stage as musicians begin to play. As the revelry begins to swell, we see a dwarven man with a braided black beard adorned with rings. He moves through the crowd, the people of the town giving him plenty of space. Behind him is a tall, half-orc woman, stoically following close behind. She wears a suit of ringmail with a curved greatsword on her back. He moves from stand to stand, doing short interrogations and collecting fees. Chris. He approaches Thormund's stand, and he looks at you and he says, Have you paid your fee?
I paid yesterday.
He looks at his paperwork and he says, I don't think you have. It's going to be 1 gold for the day. He holds out his hand.
Do I know this guy?
You recognize him as the barrister of the town.
Okay.
His name is Drotak.
What's a barrister?
Drotak!
Lawmaster of the town.
Okay.
Can I come in?
You may.
I slip a gold piece into his hand walking up from behind. I say, Hey, Dromak.
It's Drotak.
Whatever you say, boss.
He pockets the coin.
Hail, Talon.
He's good. He's good. Come on. We don't want any trouble around here.
He nods. He says, I'll be back tomorrow to collect your fee. And he walks away.
Thought it was a one-time fee.
Yeah, I think he just extorted you, man. I see you got it set up.
Yeah. Not many bites so far, but I'm just having fun being around people.
I like this one. I pick up the Hydra figurine or whatever,
Yeah, that's the finest one. I put the most work into that one.
Oh, hey, it looks like your tattoos.
Modeled after the same one.
And this is when Cassius enters and walks up to Thormund's stand, and plops his bucket of a few dead fish onto his counter. My friend Thormund, good to see you and Talon here.
How you doing,
Cassius?
Cass?
Cool.
Cassius, you bring fish as always.
Yes,
take
I had a good bounty for this morning. This is my first festival here, so I thought I would get into town for once.
Yes,
Same.
Yeah, it's a nice festival. I've been here a couple years now, and it's very pleasant. Nothing much happens.
There's an awful lot of people around for nothing to happen.
Well, nothing of note other than general merriment.
I had heard there was a pie eating contest going later on. That seems like quite
Yes,
quite
I
the
hope you
hubbub.
came hungry.
No one's going to beat Porculus.
I turn around to find out who said that.
Yeah, who interjected?
There's a younger pot-bellied boy. He looks up at you and he says, "Porculus is the champion, and no one will beat him."
Well, I think Porculus has quite the challenger this year.
It is the largest hog I've ever seen. I didn't know that that a hog could enter a contest.
There's no rules against it.
I suppose. I mean, where's Drotak?
That sounds like fair game to me.
The boy kicks dirt onto your shoes and walks off.
Oh.
You throw a fish at him or something to annoy him.
No, he just looks sad, dejected, and two wrongs don't make a right. So he leans down and brushes off the dirt off of his boots, and you have quite the spread here. I always am a fan of your figurines, Thormund.
Yes, I figured it's a affordable way for others to see what wildlife is like in other parts of the world. Paintings are such expensive items. These are rather cheap. I doubt many would want to come across most of these as well. Most
Yes.
of them being quite dangerous.
What is this one? A flying elephant of some sort?
I think it's Chimera, man.
Oh.
I think they refer to it as a faldigriff. More of
Faldigriff.
a
Oh.
hippo.
I'm no expert in this kind of stuff.
I have
I just
heard of
made
a
it up myself.
hippogriff, but I didn't realize they looked so much like a hippo.
I'm
Couple
just kind of casually leaning on your counter, looking around at other people, like.
And I'm just standing behind it having a great time.
Yeah, a couple of browsers approach your stand, and they kind of like look around at some of the items that you have. One of them picks up an owlbear and says, "Oh, this is cute. I like it."
That is a.
It is an owlbear.
I point. yeah, it's an owl bear. You know, it's like a bear, an owl. You mash them together.
An owlbear?
Mm-hmm.
How much is it?
10 copper. I shrug
10 copper?
and I look over you. I don't know how to price things.
But just today, for the festival, he'll sell it to you for 1 silver.
Okay, that sounds like a great deal.
I was gonna ask if you want me to make a persuasion check or something.
I mean, yeah.
10 copper is almost 1 silver.
10 copper in certain circles equates 1 silver.
and yeah, that's the joke.
Thanks for explaining it.
Well, she reaches into her coin pouch, pulls out one glistening silver coin, and hands it to you.
All right.
And she takes the owlbear and she says, "Ooh, my husband's going to love this."
I open my chest and toss it in.
All right, you've got 1 silver coin.
1 silver.
Oh yeah,
Hell yes, brother.
Racking up this money.
Merchants and Dragons. Everyone thought this podcast was going to be about fighting dragons and going on adventures. This is secretly the trading post I always wanted.
Oh no, not again!
And we're bringing it live to
Oh.
all of our viewers.
And I can't stop it this time.
Forcing our DM into a corner this time.
I didn't realize we were doing the off the rails so soon.
As,
That's called foreshadowing.
Oh no.
As you're all kind of mingling about, the crowd is getting larger and larger at this point. You see,
I'm keeping an eye out for certain people I want to just say hi to in the town that I get along with.
all right,
Talon's a pretty social guy, so he's looking for he wants to know if Destiny is just happens to walk by, or any of the orphans or anything like that. He wants to
go ahead and make a perception check.
spread his good fortune that he got in earlier. that a perception?
Yes.
All right, first die roll of the game.
Perception usually is the first die roll of most games, it feels like.
Yeah, I feel like that. 11 total.
11 total?
I mean, kind of need to know what is around.
That's true. All right, you look around the town, mainly the village square. It's at this point the stage has been finished being constructed. There's musicians up there playing. You see Destiny with a group of her orphans kind of like around her. They're kind of standing near the stage, looking up at the musicians. You see a couple of other people that you recognize. You probably recognize Berna. She's over in one of the stalls selling a bunch of furs. You recognize Umadine and her adopted son, Jace, working at the smithy.
Is the orphanage kind of close to where we are right now?
I would say it's probably a little ways on the other side of town, near the edge.
About how long would it take me to get there?
Not too long. Like maybe a couple minutes.
All right. I'll go over to Thormund and Cassius. Say, I got some quick business I gotta take care of. You want to round up some of that whispering cider for us?
I
want to taste that before.
You know I don't drink, but I would be glad to.
Well, I'll
help you
take your
for-
portion then.
Please.
I'll take it off your hands.
Oh,
I am generous like that.
I'll make sure no one leans in your spot while you're
Oh,
gone.
a fish for you? And he pulls out a dead fish. Just
Hold on to that
offers.
one too.
All right, Thormund.
I take it and toss it in my bag.
Nice.
All right,
Mm,
add
yeah,
one.
that's gonna be lovely later.
Oh, if you see any of your orphans, please take
they're
the
not
rest
my
of the bucket.
orphans. They're just orphans, man.
You seem to watch over them well enough.
Do I need to cut you?
Don't worry, you're
Do I need to cut you to reaffirm
I mean,
my
not,
mysterious backstory?
not again. No.
yeah, you're good to go.
No,
Your
I'm
spot,
just-
your
just
leaning
kidding.
spot will still be here.
Yeah. Like I said, I gotta go take care of some business. I'll be right back.
All right.
And I am going to, while everybody else seems to be out of the orphan house, break into it.
Oh my God.
Rob
Alright.
blind.
Go ahead.
Counter robbing.
Go ahead and
Um,
make a stealth check first.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Relatively good at these as a starting.
It's rude.
Mm-hmm.
Not great. 13 total.
All right. So you approach the orphanage. Go ahead and make a.
I am, however, better at breaking into things.
Yes.
So I am going to... I want to make a perception check to see if anyone's watching me
Okay.
first.
Sounds good.
And I will roll the die for that. Oof. A total of 21.
21. As you're looking around, since most of the people are in the village square, there's not too many people on the edge of town. You see like a couple people who are walking away, heading towards the festivities, but there doesn't really seem to be too many people watching you. With that, you also notice that one of the staff of the orphanage, a man named Hargreave, is inside. He kind of works as you recognize him as he works as kind of like a cook and sort of janitor of the orphanage, kind of keeping things clean, keeping things like tidy, preparing food for the orphans.
All right, well, I, in that case, knock on the door.
All right, he knocks on the door, or you knock on the door. Not me. I don't do that. After a moment,
Hey, yo, you in there?
yes, coming right up. He approaches.
At this point, I have the hood of my cloak up, kind of, hunched over my horns and kind of acting very nonchalant towards Him approaching the door.
Yeah. He opens the door. Do you have any prior relationship with this guy?
I've probably made a good handful of anonymous donations as, before.
All right. So he probably doesn't...
we might have like a little cheeky, wink and tip of the hat kind of.
Ah, okay. So yeah, this guy answers. He's kind of got like bright red hair. He's got like a bit of a pockmarked face.
You said his name was Hargrave?
Hargrave.
Hargrave.
Yeah. And he... or Hargreave, actually.
Hargrave.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he says,
Hey, mate, you're not enjoying the festival?
Oh, no, sir. I'm not too keen on social gatherings.
Ah. Well, we've all got our ups and downs with those kinds of things. I pull out the coins that I pickpocketed off of the thief earlier. I say, anonymous donation.
He nods knowingly, and he says, of course, sir.
All right. Well, you have a good time all by yourself in here in your orphanage house.
Well,
sorry.
I suppose I will, yes.
You want me to grab you anything? You want me to grab you a bottle of whispering cider?
Actually, that would be very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man.
I would appreciate
that. You keep that between me and you. I got a reputation to maintain.
As always.
I give him a wink and a nod and kind of a nudge on the shoulder, and then I leave.
All right. So we'll switch back over to you two. As you're selling a few more trinkets and baubles or carvings, I guess they're specifically a thing. You kind of you get a few more people coming by. They seem to be taking an interest in what you are selling. How familiar are the people of this town? You've been here for a few years. Are you with other people?
Yeah, I occasionally come into town, and I don't stay long. I just come in for supplies, and people know me. I have a reputation of protecting people from wildlife and the wildlife from the people. Sort of like a park ranger, basically.
Okay.
So I have somewhat of a reputation of... Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know anyone besides these two guys very well. Cassius and Talon.
All right. Well, I think the young man Jace, who's a apprentice of Umadine at the metalworks, I feel like he's kind of got like a bit of a hero worship for you. He's a kid who enjoys adventure. He desperately wants to go on an adventure, and I think he's kind of at that age where he's kind of able to like take care of himself in a lot of ways, but he's still young. He's like in his early teens, but he's he's kind of on the edge of becoming a man. And I think recently he's been hounding you to take him on a hunting trip. So I think during one of his breaks, he approaches your stand and he says, "Hey, Thormund,
how's it going?
I was wondering, next time you go on one of your hunts, I'm practically grown now. I think I would very much like to go, hunting with you. I'm working on a sword of my own."
You typically hunt with spears, but swords can work.
Well, I could make a spear. I mean, when is the next time you're going out?
Probably tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Well...
Before I say yes or no, how long can you stand still without making any noise?
Let me see. And he...
You don't have to...
Clever.
He stands still, very still.
Cassius watches, slightly confused.
And he kind of like shuffles about like...
I say, you can come once you can stand 3 hours without making any noise. You can join me.
3 hours. Right.
A lot of hunting is waiting, silently.
I can do that. I'm pretty quiet, I think.
It sounds like it.
He stands still for a moment.
Keep up the good work.
Yes. Of course. So, what did you kill on your last hunt?
Several rabbits and a small quail.
He kind of looks at your array of monsters that you have on the table, and he says, "You ever kill one of these?" And he picks up a manticore.
Can't say I have. I sort of get a frown on my face.
What about one of these? He picks up an owlbear.
No, but I have seen them in my hunts. Most of these are to be avoided
Well, I mean,
and respected from a distance.
well, yeah, but if you're going to make a name for yourself, you gotta prove something, right? You gotta show people that you can take care of yourself.
I think the best way to do that is to just do it and not care what others think of you.
Well, I mean, if you want to be and he kind of like puffs up his chest and he says, if you want to be an adventurer of great renown, you gotta get out there and show people what you're made of, right?
I suppose. I'm not familiar with many adventurers of renown.
Well, I mean, you gotta do great deeds. You gotta slay the beast. You gotta fight the dragon. You gotta save the village.
Well, any of these, I would not hunt for sport. Because I hunt to have sustenance and to eat. I hunt not for sport.
Oh yeah, but what if he picks up the Hydra? We're like, what if one of these guys were terrorizing a village? What are you gonna do then?
I stop for a second. Do my best to lure it away from the town.
Oh come on! It's a monster to be conquered. It
is an animal, I interrupt him. And animals, nothing should be killed for sport. If there's another option. Weird way to say it.
Make a perception or a persuasion check.
Right. Roll the 6. What is persuasion? Charisma?
Charisma.
5.
5. Well, he kind of like
kid.
Yeah.
he's a teenager. He's 13.
Okay. So you have disadvantage.
Yes. Ooh.
You have disadvantage then.
He kind of like
he is ready to take on the world.
he's ready. Yeah, he is like.
I'll say, all life is sacred. I put my hand on his shoulder.
Can I jump in with a?
Oh yeah, I mean you're there.
Yeah, you're there.
too.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I've been waiting for my prompt to jump.
Yeah.
in because
I mean, I'll kind of see if this works as a help action.
I'll say, Cassius, why do you fish?
I fish for sustenance and for the time to clear my mind and to provide for for others as well. And young man, you don't have to go out trying to prove yourself to the others if you can't prove your own worth with yourself. You don't need the validation of slaying a a Hydra? You don't need to slay a Hydra to be respected among your friends, your peers.
I kind of walk up and cock my head. Yeah. Am I there?
Yeah, you're there.
Okay. I don't know. That's a lot of trophies. I mean, look, that's like 5-6 heads you could bring back.
I'll just say I participated in a hunt on a Hydra once, and it brought me only great shame.
Cassius looks very surprised. I mean,
Huh. Really?
I get to look like I'm not going to say anything else about it.
I raise an eyebrow questioningly and shut my mouth because the guy who's much bigger than me doesn't look like he wants to talk about it.
Okay. I'm gonna learn to stand still though, and you're gonna take me on one of your hunts.
I will.
And at the very least, I'm gonna slay a bear. Maybe a big bear.
We're also going to have to gut that bear and clean it, and you will participate in that as well if you wish to join me.
He looks a little bit excited at that, and he's like, "Yeah, Maybe a dire bear.
I see you
That's-
have a fan.
I apparently do.
Those are as big as houses, right?
A little bit smaller.
Depends
About
on the
size
house.
of my house. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll start smaller. Work our way up to that.
Perhaps squirrels, rabbits, or... Well, I mean, I prefer to fish alone, but I would very much recommend fishing. It's very relaxing. It leaves you a lot of time for your thoughts.
It is good training to stand still for long, long periods of time in a very boring environment.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
My sarcastic comments. Let's see, I rolled an 8, so that's a total of 13.
That is his age, so you beat his
Oh,
DC.
that was a DC. Arbitrary DC.
He says, well, normally I would think fishing is boring, but... Okay.
I pick up the Hydra figurine, but think of the prize.
I like put my hand on it. There are other prizes.
Hydras live in water, right?
They can.
I looked at Thormund, yeah.
This one specifically doesn't, but they can.
Well, of course it doesn't. It's wood.
Well, he looks at
Wood doesn't
Wood
Cassius,
doesn't live in water.
and he
can.
says, when are you going fishing again?
I mean, tomorrow, but you can't come. I'm sorry. I established that. I fish alone. You should go to Bunt, and he...
Bunt's kind of weird. I don't know.
I don't think you should be sending 13-year-olds to Bunt.
All right. Well, if you won't go fishing
Well-
with me,
Here. Take this fishing rod then.
he takes it.
Yeah. I can get another from Bunt later on.
Can you show me how it works?
Yes. Cassius goes over the basics of the fishing rod. It's basically like a pole with a rod. It's no reel, nothing fancy.
It's a pole with a string.
It's a pole with a string and a hook. And
All right.
he hands him a fit. Cassius grabs a fistful of worms from his bucket and offers it out to the kid.
I think it's about time you
And you'll need some bait for that as well. You just hook those bad
you
boys
join
right onto
me
there.
and Cassius here. Let's go enjoy the festival a little, man. Hey, look, you made your money for the day, right? Talon is looking like, oh my god, I am bored. So he puts the gold piece down on his counter and slides it across, and he's like, I'll take all of them.
Sure. I put them in the chest and hand it to you.
Great. I leave the chest right on the counter. So come on now, let's go.
Doesn't your chest have all the gold?
It does. I didn't think about that.
Oh. All right. So
Yeah, I lock it.
you lock your chest, and you look around the festival. What particularly are you looking for?
Drinks.
Oh, there's plenty of places to get drinks. There's
Specifically, I'm looking for the Whispering Orchard cider
all right.
that
Well,
the town is kind of named after, or Windstone.
well, Windstone is named after the titular Windstone.
It's like a monolith that,
Yeah.
that wind constantly passes out of.
Passes out of, yes.
I'm sure it's nothing.
The Whispering Fields Orchard, or the Whispering Orchard, is an orchard that is in the shadow of this Windstone. It is run by a couple, Ray, Jack, and Felden, and they are a couple who, after they retired, they opened up this orchard for apples. They found that the particular ground near the Windstone was very fertile and produced a fine quality of apples, so they were able to produce a fine quality of cider here. And the town is fairly famous in the region for it. They ship out a lot of their the Whispering cider to several people in the region. And during the festival, they debut their current batch of cider, which, as you're looking around for this particular stall, you do see it, and it is crowded with people. There's a lot of people that have gathered there. It is the most popular thing here at the festival, especially on the first day before any of the big events happen.
Talon, would you mind expediting our drinks?
I think I can grab a few. I look over at Cass.
You'll take mine, yes.
You should at least take a sip. This is unlike anywhere else.
Peer pressure.
I suppose it is. I wanted to experience the festival. You're right.
The tiny
I'll take a
hovel,
break. It just makes me
which we are currently
lowers
residing
my inhibition some.
is famous for it, or so I've heard.
It's the best cider in town, that's for sure. You hear someone say as they walk past you.
See, Street Hawkins guy.
That guy gets it.
Yes,
That guy gets it.
it's good. Try it.
Just take a sip. Is it against your religion or something?
Well, we weren't. We weren't permitted to drink. No. I'll take a drink.
If you don't,
yes.
If you don't want to.
Talon makes like one of those hand motions that's like, yeah, don't ask about that.
Yeah.
Not.
Cassius seems to like freeze up at the mention, like almost gets like a little sweaty. But he's like, it seems to shake it off. He's like, yeah, no, I want to try something new. I would like to try a cider.
I was excited.
All right.
3 drinks.
4 drinks coming up.
Never mind.
All right. As you get into kind of like this grouping of people, and as you do, you kind of see Felden. He's behind the stall by himself. Usually he would have him and Rajak assisting, kind of getting everything set up, but he seems to be a bit swamped, and it's just him by himself, and he's kind of like quickly kind of like, okay, yeah, and then he's like, taking coins and then giving out the cider, and
I'm like 4 over here.
oh yeah, that's,
I got 4.
that's
I got 4.
gonna,
I got 2 more. I got 2 more over here. I got 3. I got 3 more over here. I'm gonna make a deception check to start confusing him.
okay.
Hey, he's got 2. Hey, he's got 3. Talking to 1. Talking to 2. Talking a.
That's an 8.
8? Oh. He hands you 4 bottles of cider, and as he's kind of like, you see he's kind of like panicking a little bit, and he's just like, I need a break, and he says, give me 5, please.
Absolutely, man. You look like you deserve it. You take a break.
And he kind of like flips his sign, little like folding sign that he has on the front of the stall, flips it to close, and he goes and like sits back on his
I just
cart.
kind of like meld back a little bit. like kind of meld back into the crowd and be like,
And a lot of the crowd are kind of like, hey, wait, I didn't get my cider yet. Hey, come on, man.
Hey.
I want a drink. Come on, man.
Hey, give him 5 minutes. Give him 5 minutes.
Okay,
Everyone.
5, yeah. I'm still thirsty.
Me too.
All right. I skedaddle out of there before the crowd starts taking him from me.
All right, so yeah, you move away.
Sounded like quite the commotion. What's happening up there?
Oh, he got a little overwhelmed, he forgot to take my coin, and we're just, here you go.
All right.
Take 1, and 1 for you,
Oh,
and
thank
1
you.
for me, and 1 for my cloak, and we are good.
Curve.
So
is this a twist top or is it a cork? Cheers.
Cheers. Oh,
It's very good.
that's fantastic.
Oh, it's half the reason I stay around here. It's half the reason I come to town.
Hey, that makes this festival pretty worth it. I might stick around for a little while longer.
And actually, go ahead and roll a d4, everyone.
Oh.
4. Oh,
Uh-oh.
gotta get 1.
4.
You gain 4 temporary hit points.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow, it's like
Yeah.
magic cider.
4 temporary hit points.
One temporary hit point.
It's literally good for you.
It's so good for you that it
Could you describe like what that feels like, or is it just like ridiculously tasty?
it's really
Little
tasty,
confidence.
and as soon as like you take a sip, and as like you kind of drink more and more and more, you start to feel like kind of like a invigoration in you. You feel a bit more like, hey, I'm.
It's like the Monster Energy apple cider.
It gives you a bit more energy and makes you feel a bit more like cognizant of like your body and your health.
I guess Cassius just doesn't drink as much of it as the experienced guys down it down, and
We slam
Cassius
hard.
sips at it, but hasn't developed the taste for alcohol yet.
Yeah.
Well, I'll pass off Hargreaves to him later. But
This
for now, hey, what else is going on around here? You're more familiar with this town. What kind of?
Well, we got the pie eating contest coming up in a bit, I think.
Yes, with Porculus.
Okay.
The reigning
so
champ.
explain this to me. Is there actually a pig that you compete against?
There is quite the ravenous hog.
That's amazing. I want to see this.
All right, I think it's right over there.
Has anyone ever beaten him?
He is the undefeated champ.
He is the undefeated
How
champion.
old is this hog?
Been here as long as I've been.
Cool. What else is going on? Carnival games, that kind of thing?
Yeah, you
know?
see, like, there's a bunch of, like, different carnival games. You see, like, like, there's one of those, like, strength tests things. There's kind of, like, a skee ball kind of stand. Yeah, you see all sorts of different, like, festival types of things. There's, like, a wall with, like, a bunch of bags filled with, like, water that people pop with darts.
I just ignore him.
Just out of curiosity, is there like a town guard here that's like watching over things, or?
There are. The town guard you would know, is employed by the barrister, Drotak.
That's the dwarf that
Yeah.
extorted the money from him earlier.
Yes. He's kind of a representative of the countess here in the county, and he's here on her behalf to ensure that law is kept here in the village of Windstone. As you kind of like look around, you do see him. He's kind of going up to different stalls and kind of like interrogating them real quickly, holding out his palm. They pay him the gold coin, and then he kind of walks off.
Can anyone just set up around here? Neat.
You did have to fill out proper paperwork.
Yes, but you do have to clear it with the town.
Oh, they love me here. I'm sure they'll be fine.
I'm sure. Drotak does love you.
Drotak loves you.
I'm gonna look at Cassius and see like what is he checking out here? What's catching his interest? He seems a bit nervous. I want to like
Yeah, Cassius is very nervous, and he seems to be like kind of just like looking around at the mass of people wandering around, the people playing games, the families, grabbing their double deep fried fair foods and and everything, and just kind of seeming a little lost in thoughts, and like occasionally taking a sip from his cider. He takes another sip and then like looks down at his side and kind of like bat swats as if there were a fly or something at his ear. Oh yes, this there's a good amount of cinnamon in this as well. It's very delicious, but I just can't drink a lot of it.
Oh, well, take your time, man. No one's peer pressuring you.
As you're kind of sitting around looking around, examining the area, you kind of glance back over to the Whispering Cider stand. You see Felden has kind of walked away from the stand to try to get the attention of a guard. He seems to be worried about something. he kind of is
I
like
look shifty-eyed back and forth.
you see him talking to one of the guards, and one of the guards just kind of like shrugs his shoulders and then walks away, and he looks a little bit like worried, and then he walks back over to his stand. There's still a good amount of people that have that are still waiting in line for him to serve them, and he kind of flips his sighs and flips his sign back to open and starts taking orders again. And you notice that his supplies seem to be dwindling. He's almost out of his cider.
All of us notice this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it looks like good Sir Felden could use with some assistance.
Oh, okay. You're pointing at me.
Oh, no, all of us.
Oh, I mean, yes. What would you have in mind?
I don't know. Let's see what's bothering him. You're
Lead-
welcome to join. You don't have to.
Lead on.
If you have some other pressing engagement. All right, I walk over.
All right. You walk over, and he's as he's kind of like giving the last bottle that he has on his inventory to the last customer. He kind of slumps his shoulders and flips his sign back to closed, and he.
Run out already.
I was supposed to get my next batch from Rajak. He should have been here about 30 minutes ago.
Who is Rajak? Do we know?
Rajak is my husband.
Oh.
He went back up to the orchard to get the next batch from the cart, and
How about you stay right here, and the three of us are going to go check on him.
would you do that? I asked the guards,
Hey,
but
anything for a friend, man.
You do seem very worried, ma'am. It's we can take care of this. You have to stay with your stand here.
Yeah, you got to watch your money here, you know.
yeah, he says thank you. If there's any way I can repay, just let me know. I can.
I'm sure we'll think of something. Don't worry about that right now. We're here to help.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
As we walk away, I say, I doubt it's anything, but I'm going to go get my weapons just in case. They're back by my stall.
He goes back to the stall. I look at Cassius. I'm like,
I mean, I don't.
I open like one side of my cloak with like several daggers like holstered down. And like, you need anything?
I have a utility knife with me. I suppose I gave my fishing rod to that kid.
Yeah, you just say the
I'll
word.
get another
man.
one from the shack later.
All right.
Hey, look, you guys have been good friends to me. You say the word, I'll give you a knife.
Yeah, I come back with my gear.
All right. And you guys, knowing where the Whispering Fields orchard was, you make your way up there. It's a bit outside of the village, so you walk away from like the major hustle and bustle of the village
of like
square.
the main street market stall
And then
kind of.
You leave there, you cross the bridge over the river that winds past the village, and you make your way up sort of like this road that leads kind of up to this like small hill where you see the Whispering or the Windstone like looming overhead. You see in the distance where the orchard is. There's a great many apple trees that is in the shadow of the Windstone itself. As you approach, you see the cart he had sitting out in front of the gate of the orchard, and it seems to be abandoned, and it doesn't look like it's been loaded.
So empty.
Empty.
Is it the kind of cart that you would pull with a horse?
Yes, the horse is there.
Okay. I say I kind of want to go up and check the cart with, say, an investigation check? Like, around, like, what... Yeah, just to notice anything fishy. I mean, firstly, fishy is the cart is empty, and it should be full.
What was the... Wojak?
Rajak.
Rajak.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not great with names.
Yes.
I'm trying.
I mean, I was going to ask, but you did it for me.
But I look at Thormund. I said, is this normal behavior for a Rayjack?
Don't know him well, but they seem like the industrious. He seems like the industrious sort. I'll yell, Rayjack, you around?
No response. As you approach the cart, you see the horse starts to get a little antsy. Go ahead and make a nature check.
Oh, that's not.
There's also animal handling.
There is animal handling?
Yes.
Yeah,
I have
there's
both.
animal handling.
Then do that.
I mean, yeah.
I'll notice the horses coming.
Yeah,
getting started.
like I kind of pause as the horse gets startled when I get near and
I'll
kind of
hold my
look
hand
to
out and make a
Thormund.
check. Yeah, I'll hold my hand out and make a check. It's 14. No, 15 for animal handling.
All right. You calm the horse down.
I say, horse is spooked. That's not good news.
Yeah.
The poor thing is still hooked to this as well.
Is it spooked about Cassius or something?
With that, you kind of get that the horse is a little bit on edge. You feel like it's been standing here for a while with a cart like attached to it, so it's kind of made it a bit like angry and antsy and a little bit uneasy. And
I think we should go check the house or ranch. Help.
it's like a small 2-story manor that's attached to. It's kind of like it serves as like the main cidery.
Mm-hmm.
And also it serves as a living
And then
place.
like a residency attached to it.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
Okay.
That seems like a good idea.
Did I find anything out of sorts around the cart? I
Go
suppose.
ahead and make a survival check.
Like was it loaded or was it survival or investigation?
Investigation.
It was unloaded.
Okay, that's a.
Well, when you say unloaded, did you mean like something was loaded on here?
It's empty.
Okay, so we
That's a 12.
I mean, they unloaded in the morning when they were setting up.
and then brought it back.
Yeah, it
And
looks
there's
like
nothing in there now.
correct.
Gotcha.
It looks like he didn't make it up to the cidery.
Okay, so they never made the full return.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I got a 12 on that, so essentially just that. Yeah.
All right. You look around the cart. You don't really notice of anything of note with the cart. But as you're kind of like looking around near the gate, you see footprints. They look to be reptilian in nature.
Large reptilian, small reptilian, like about the size of a human hand or about the size of a halfling hand. I don't.
I would say you need a survival check to get more
I'll
information.
kneel
on
down. I'll notice
I
he-
will assist him.
Okay.
Survival
Alright.
check.
I kneel down, see what you're looking at. 13, so...
I don't
16.
understand this.
16. Yes, most of them appear to be small reptilian.
Let's say, all right, the things that made those tracks, they can't be more than, 3 feet?
They look to be small reptilian. Though, with that, you also notice there is a set of larger footprints that appear to be made by something approximately human-sized.
Yes, and something slightly larger accompanied them. Whatever made these tracks.
Seems we have a problem. We were right to check this out.
Alright,
We're going to follow these tracks.
All right.
I open the gate.
As you open the gate, I'm going to roll an attack against you.
Alright.
Oh.
All right. When you open the gate,
Uh-oh.
you see a rock flies past your head, and you kind of duck at the last minute as it soars over your head, and another one comes for you, Wes. What is your AC?
It is just. I'm not wearing any armor, so it is 12.
12? And the other rock hits you square in the face for 5 damage.
Okay. Ow.
Wow.
Fucking ow.
That's like a square hit in the face for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
no,
rock-
like.
This rock hits you right in the face, your nose gushes blood, and you kind of like stumble back as emerging from behind the gate, you see two reptilian creatures, and that's where we're going to leave off for tonight.
Ah!
Kobolds!
Kobolds! We don't get our vengeance yet!
In the end, the rocks come first.
Maybe next week.
Intro, outro, and sound engineering performed by Lee Nesbitt. You can find more of his work at undercoverbeard.bandcamp.com. Background music is provided by Epidemic Sound, and the artwork is provided by Alex. And we'd like to give a very special thank you to our listeners.
Yeah, that means you. Especially you. You're very special. And don't you ever let anyone else tell you otherwise.